Joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, he is a Hall of Famer. He is WNCT sports director, host of the Brian Bailey Show, part of Playfly Sports. He is Brian Bailey joining us. Bailey, how you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm doing great. Coming off a spring game weekend, Bailey, I've come to the assumption that this is my personal opinion.
All right, what's that?
The worst part of spring game weekend is the spring game.
Yeah, the spring game is never going to be lots of fireworks.
Yeah.
I really thought it was, with the two long runs that were in the game, I really enjoyed that part of it. I mean,
what I enjoyed, first play of the game, like they're really hitting, really tackling. So, I mean, that part, it was a game.
Yeah.
Other than when the quarterbacks ran. But I say that not to insult it because there was so many things around the game that I enjoyed. It was cool to see former players around. The fans really enjoyed getting on the field after the game, getting autographs. I talked to some coaches, some players. So Nate Connor was and his family was getting Blake Harrell's autograph, so I asked Nate Connor for an autograph, and he didn't give me one. I think he's too expensive. But there's live music going on. Like, there's a ton of great stuff happening.
Right.
But the game itself is just kind of it's a practice.
And Friday night, underneath the stadium with all the cookers and getting the pigs, and my man Stanley Nichols, he went ahead and cooked a whole bunch of brisket and ribs, and he had a whole setup of just great food and fellowship, all the people coming out. And the only bad thing about Friday night was the Pirates got behind 9-0 in the first inning in baseball, because a lot of people were going to go there and then leave there and go over to watch the baseball game. But that was unfortunate. But still, just a lot of things going on with the spring game.
Yeah, and now you kind of wait. You hope you can hold on to all your guys, and the Pirates will also try to add maybe a piece or two in the portal to boost up their roster. I don't know. I think if there is a quarterback willing to come here to back up Caden Hauser, you at least look at it. I'm not not too sold on what ECU has right now behind Caden Hauser. They could be fine, but I haven't just seen the spark there, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Raheem's been around for a while, and we've seen him, 2 or 3 years, and it's about time he gets a shot as far as that goes. But he's unproven, and that's basically what you're saying. If somebody that has a little, has proven themselves as a solid backup and is in the portal and wants to come here, you have to at least look at it for sure. And
you mentioned the highlights in the running game. I love the running back room, even without Rajay. And was it Ty Johnson that made the catch in the end zone? He mossed one of his teammates. So
he did.
I think we've certainly got some talent on the outside there. Excited about this defense. I think question marks. Are excited about the offense. Some question marks on the defense just because you lost so much. But we'll see what Josh Aldridge can do in year one. And talking to folks, they really Tegan Wilk said he loves playing for Josh Aldridge. I enjoyed that part of it too, talking to Caden, but especially talking to Tegan Wilk. He had some interesting perspective.
He really does.
He had the grass is greener where you water it line, which was awesome. But he really talked up ECU, Pirate Nation, Greenville, and hopefully some older Pirate fans who are kind of bitter about the way college athletics has gone hears those comments and maybe gets reinvigorated a little bit with ECU football.
Yeah, you would hope. I mean, it is tough, though, when you've been around as long as a lot of us have, and you see guys that come in and you're thinking, like, hey, we've got them for 4 years, and next thing you know, they're in the transfer portal. But that's what we're dealing with right now. You have to embrace it.
Some other news over the weekend: Mike Schwartz gets a contract extension.
Yeah.
That was a bit surprising, I thought. But your take on it?
I wasn't really surprised. I thought they had a really good year, really solid year. We could look back at that season, and I think Coach Schwartz would say the same thing if they had won some of the games that they should have won early on. But when you're building a team and trying to get everybody to gel together, sometimes it takes longer than you'd hope. But I thought they had some big wins in the conference, and being a player in this conference was big.
That comes off of them signing, I think, or getting their third commit out of the portal late last week, 6'11" kid. So still need to find a shooter or two, a point guard, but hopefully the pieces are in place for another successful year.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a shooter, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to have somebody that you know can go in, because they had lulls this year, and at times they were really good from behind the 3-point line.
I'm not asking for Akeem Richmond. That would be asking for a lot.
Right.
But give me a Hennett or a Legan from back, that could bomb it a little bit.
Give me a Robin House. Remember that name?
I do. I
Yeah.
remember that name. That's going back.
Yeah.
But somebody that can hit you
Can light it up.
when you need it, because RJ is not an outside shooter, but man, he'd get hot and hit a few. But I think Jay Shane will improve his outside game, and we'll find some guys, but definitely need to bolster that roster a little bit as well.
And how about what RJ did at the PIT?
That was awesome. Yeah.
That was
Are you
really
familiar?
good.
Like, I've heard that used to be
Oh,
a
yeah.
really big
When
deal.
I was an intern at Wavy in 1984, I mean, that was one of the big things that I had to do. And one of my big projects was they let me put together a music piece that they ran on the air of just the highlights of the PIT. And it's funny, I still have a copy of that. And I shot all the video in it. I didn't white balance a couple of times. So you see, and that's back before you could correct. Now you can correct all that stuff on your editor through the computer. But back then it was kind of like, this was a little blue, this was a little gold, this was a little yellow. But it all flowed together, and it wasn't too bad.
My Coach Mack talked about how it was a big deal back
Yeah.
in the day. And how about RJ? So from what I understand, reading on Twitter, like he was a late ad, drove up, got out of the parking lot, and was the player of the game. Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of guy he is. Sometimes it doesn't look right seeing a Pirate in a different uniform, but RJ just looks like a basketball player because he looked good in that orange. I think
Yeah.
he's going to look good no matter what he's wearing.
He looks good. He's really, he was a blessing for Pirate basketball
doubt.
for so long, and we were lucky to have him, and we're certainly going to miss him.
Bailey, I don't know if baseball is going to figure it out this year. We might just have one of those years now. Like anything, you got your conference tournament, and I mean, it's not like anybody's head and shoulders above them. I don't think. We'll
Right.
see what UTSA has and South Florida, so they got a chance. But a very rare down year for Cliff Godwin.
Very rare, and I think that you can tell that it's eating at him a little bit, and you can just tell that it's frustrating. It seems like every weekend has this different set of problems, and they work through. They bounce back against Tulane, and they get the 10-run win on Saturday, and then come back and really couldn't spark anything on Sunday, so they dropped the series. But yeah, it's just we haven't had many of those in Cliff's. This is 11th year. We haven't had many, so I'm sure it's eating at him.
No doubt. Nobody wants to win more than Cliff Godwin, and just not used to seeing this. But again, hopefully they can find something here late in the year. Brian Bailey joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, coming off NFL Draft Weekend, and it's happened again. The Cowboys take a Pirate.
How about that?
Man, good for you, bad for me. You got a good player, though.
I think so, and I think he would have been a first-round pick had he not been injured. I was surprised that he slid to the third round, and I was watching the draft, and I was like, man, this would be great if Dallas would pick him up, but they can't afford to pick him up. They got to have a wide receiver or a running back, and they went ahead and picked him up, and they've decided that, I think they're going to run a single wing with Dak and not worry about a running back or a wide receiver.
The picture of him and Jerry from a few weeks ago was disgusting enough, and now I got to see him in that star, and it's but man, another one, Dwayne Harris, John Jett, and of course the great Robert Jones. A lot of Cowboys and Pirates.
Yeah, a lot of Cowboys. We had a chance. We talked to Robert Jones this past weekend and got his take on everything. A 3-time Super Bowl champion, but Savone Revel going to the Cowboys is big. I thought Dallas had a great draft, except they still need help at wide receiver and running back. They did take a Texas running back who's got a lot of speed, but that was a later round pick. I think they got some really good players, but if they can turn this thing around, I'm not quite sure.
Brian Bailey joining us. The big story from the draft, Shadur Sanders. And
Wow.
I just remember
Cleveland had 12 different chances to take him, didn't they?
Yeah, and I guess they knew that, so they would just kind of wait till the end. But
Well, just wait.
man, I remember a lot of people asking like me last year, like, this guy's all fluff, right? Like, there's not much to him. And I'd say, well, I look at all the mock drafts and they got him going top 5, so I guess there is something to him. I just don't understand the fall and how that happened, because you would think some of these people doing these mocks were actually talking to GMs and people from NFL teams. So what the hell happened between then and the draft? I don't know.
I don't know. Some of those stories that leaked out about him not doing well in the interviews and not doing well, in some of the chalk talk type things and stuff like that. I don't know if that had something to play into it, but it was fascinating. I mean, we've had players that drop before, but nothing like that.
Yeah, you've seen like Aaron Rodgers sitting
Right.
in the room and quarterbacks like that, but man, well, we'll see. That Cleveland goes with both Dylan Gabriel and Shadur. So remember when Washington drafted RG3 and Kirk Cousins? It was kind of weird, but eventually both of them played. So we'll see what happens.
See what happens with that, and see what
the Cowboys back up. They still got
they traded with New England.
Oh yeah,
they like him.
Yeah, big arm athlete, but
real big arm. That's what they like about him.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
What are you laughing at, Jared? Oh, okay, yeah, Jerry, yeah, okay. Anyway, moving on. All right, BB, what Canes trying to wrap up their round one?
I hope to go tomorrow
Tuesday.
night. That's the plan right now. I hope to go with Zach and see if I can keep Zach away from talking to everybody and get some work done when we go there. And that'd be fun though. I haven't gone to a playoff game yet this year. I haven't gone to a Canes game this year, so I'm looking forward to maybe doing that tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope they can go and take care of business at home, and because Washington, that would be next.
Yeah,
for them.
and
So-
Washington's up 3-1.
right. So they'll probably close theirs out. So go ahead and get that one and move on to round two.
Yeah,
But
that'd be
it's
fun.
Been fun. They lost on Friday night. Good comeback, but lost in overtime. But outside of that, they've looked really good.
And I was impressed yesterday. They're up 3-0, and you're thinking the thing's over, and the next thing you know, it's 3-2 with a lot of hockey still to play. But they were able to come through and get the win. 5-2. Svechnikov with the hat trick.
Bailey, there's always something going on, and soon it'll be Bird Dogs baseball going on. Had a great Bird Dog show today.
I enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. We're looking forward to the Danny Beal bobblehead night.
You're going to talk that into
Which is not going to happen, but we thought it would be fun to think about. But talking to those guys and baseball is so important to the city of Kinston and the things they've done. I always talk about that when I came here in '84 and looked at the park and thought, man, this is how do you play baseball in that area? But they've done a great job of just cleaning everything up down there and getting it nice. And they deserve baseball because they work very hard.
Yeah, Bird Dogs baseball coming soon, and Brian Bailey had a full hour talking about that. Had DB on, had the manager on. Great story about the manager. He is the son of the manager that went viral in minor league baseball years and years ago, who had the meltdown and threw the rosin bag grenade. And shout out to Mark Alexander. We're sitting there during your show, and he's kind of looking up things and says, "Oh my God, this guy's dad's famous."
That is crazy. I had no idea.
So that was really cool.
That was really cool.
All right, BB. Well, have a good week, man. Hopefully you can catch some hockey and some other sports this week.
Sounds good. Should be fun.
We'll talk to you next week.
All right.